The other day, myself, Sadie, and Marbles were climbing up to the top of Mount Everest. Part of the way up the mountain, the atmosphere was so thin I could hardly breathe. And Sadie, she looked back at me and she said, meow, 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 meow. And I said, no, Sadie, you go on without me. You get to the top of that mountain, no matter what it takes. And the Marbles looked at Sadie, and Marbles said, meow, 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 meow. And Sadie said, meow, 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 meow. And they grabbed me by my collar and they dragged me up the side of Mount Everest, all the way to the very top. And they planted their little kitty flag because they were the first two cats in the entire world to climb to the top of Mount Everest with an obese man child. And while we're up at the top admiring the view, it was at that very moment we realized we still needed to get down. Now we thought about just pushing me down, but then we realized all that snow and ice would get collected onto me, and it'd be a gigantic snowball going down the mountain, rolling through all the camps, down into the camp at the bottom, and everybody else would get rolled up in it. And it'd be a huge mess. And I said to Sadie, Sadie, you and Marbles, you leave me here. You get down to the bottom of the mountain. You tell them what happened. You tell them that we got up here and I sacrificed myself for you guys. Because that's the kind of guy I am. And Marbles looked at Sadie. Sadie looked at Marbles. And I could hear them saying meow, 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 meow at each other. And Sadie came over to me. Marbles leapt on Sadie's back. And I said, Marbles, stop doing that to Sadie. She doesn't like when you do that. Stop biting her. But Marbles wasn't biting Sadie. Marbles was taking fur off of Sadie's back because they were making rope and twine and rope out of Sadie's fur. Because they strapped it around my feet and themselves. So underneath my feet, my left foot was Sadie, underneath my right foot was Marbles. And they had constructed little kitty skis out of the fur. They licked it until it was slick as ice. And we're skiing down the mountain and we're waving hello at everybody saying, hey everybody, we're coming down from the top of the mountain, watch out. I got my cat fur skis, I got my cat fur ski shoes, which were actually just Sadie and Marbles, but they didn't know it at the time. They thought my cats had died and I put them on, but they weren't dead, they were alive. I should have made that clear as I went down past them. But we get down to the bottom and everybody's down there celebrating. And I'm making out with all these ladies down there. And it turns out, unbeknownst to me, Marbles, and Sadie, there was a big contest. Whoever could get up to the top of the mountain and back down first would win $20 million for their favorite charity. And I looked at Sadie and I looked at Marbles. And we said, meow, 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 meow. And I looked at the contest dude and he said, all right, what charity do you want to give your money to? And I said, there's an animal shelter I want to give all that $20 million to. There's a lot of cats and dogs and gerbils and ferrets and parrots and sparrows and guinea pigs and hamsters and people yelling in the background while I'm trying to do this. And they're just screaming nonstop because they want to know what's in this animal shelter. And they will not stop screaming about it. They need to know. Everybody needs to know what's in this animal shelter. And I'll be able to answer it when they stop screaming. They've stopped screaming. And there were wolverines and bears and lions and all sorts of animals in this animal shelter. And so I say, come on, Marbles and Sadie, let's take our $20 million and go to that animal shelter. And we'll give them that money. And they'll be able to feed all of their animals for the rest of the year. And I get there. And I slapped $20 million down on the counter and I say, here you go. $20 million for a donation. Just take it. Don't ask questions where I got it from. And as I'm walking out, the person at the front desk said, sir, where'd you get the $20 million from? And I turn around and I say, I just told you don't ask me where this money came from. And I take that $20 million away from him. And I said, I'm not giving you this $20 million now because you didn't listen. And I threw it back at them and I said, Now that you've learned your lesson, you're not going to ask me that question again, so you get to have that $20 million. So me, Sadie, and Marvel are strutting out of the animal shelter like this. And there's all sorts of ladies outside, and we all make out. Even Sadie and Marbles, we all make out with them. I guess Sadie and Marbles did. I think maybe they just laid in laps and purred or something. But I made out with all sorts of ladies out there. Because I'm a ladies' man. And that's what ladies' men do, I hear. And at that very moment, the director of the animal shelter comes running out. And they say, "Sir, are you the cat man?" I say, "Yes, I am." And they say, "Did you know who owns this animal shelter?" I said, "No, I don't. Who owns it?" And the person says, "Well, I'm the director of the animal shelter. And so I have it on top authority that a cat named Sadie owns this animal shelter." And I looked down, and Sadie's still there. I said, "Sadie, you own this animal shelter?" And she says, "Meow, meow, 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 meow." I said, "Oh, it's another cat named Sadie." And the director says, "Yeah, I don't even know who that is. Is that your cat, Sadie? That's a weird coincidence." And then we go home, and it's in the newspapers, because where I live is we don't have the internet. We only have newspapers. And in the newspapers, it says Sadie saves everybody, but they think it's the owner of the animal shelter that saved it, not Sadie, me, and Marbles. And that's very disturbing. So that's why I made this video, to set the record straight. So next time you hear that Sadie saved the animal shelter, it was not the owner of the animal shelter. It was Sadie, me, and Marbles that did it. So I want you to tell your friends this and leave some comments and subscriptions below. Thank you.